What's up, folks? I'm no one's favorite person. I'm going to be your host for tonight's The Nobodies podcast. This is the very first episode, so bear with me. There's going to be a lot of mistakes or real things, but the one key objective here is that we're going to keep this raw. We're going to keep this real. The most important thing, we're going to keep this rooted in reflection, right? Because as the Nobodies name implies, that each and every person you meet in your lifetime might know something that can profoundly change the way you live your life or you look at life as a whole. So with that being said, dive right headfirst into chaos, right? The collapsing credit scores and what they call, the late stages of capitalism. So strap in. So let's get ahead and just set the room, right? Let's get ahead and paint a really nice picture for you guys, right? Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill that, just won't stop, has a consistent speed that seems to ever so slightly keep getting faster and faster, and somehow it's on fire? And there's some guy in suits just kind of like in a little window just above your periphery, looking down at you, probably talking, keeping scores, taking notes and all that jazz. And you're just telling yourself, yeah, this is just totally fine. This is totally normal. Let me just try to look a little faster than what the treadmill is doing, And I think all of us have been in this situation. You've been asking yourself, is this just me, or is this whole system kind of cooked in a way? And I want to sit here and just affirm with you guys, it's not just you. You're not crazy, but the system is. So what is late stage capitalism? That's a great question, First and foremost, let's define that term. What is late stage capitalism? It's been a term that's been floating around more than these just past couple of days. I want to say kind of like towards the late 90s, early 2000s. You can say some people have just been tossing this word out, but as to pinpoint who originated it, that's going to be a story for the next couple of generations to figure out. But if we have to define it, it's what you get when capitalism is running. All right, let's paint another picture. You know what? I think we've all seen this. You're running down the highway, or you're driving down the street, or anywhere in America, right? And you're going to see a late model, whatever freaking American car you can call it. You can consider Ford, Pontiac, whatever. That is so beat to hell, it's still running. The exhaust is just blowing out straight up black smoke, or it's just coming right out of the passenger seat in the front seat. With all the things that are broken with that image of that car, it's still functioning in some way or another. In itself, that image of just that fucking dumpster fire of a car just driving down the street, these absurdities are just a normal day-to-day things that we see here in America, right? Billionaires are all trying to race into space and colonize Mars, while most of us here are probably rationing out whatever medications like insulin or food, or dare I say just money to get by to the next week. CEOs are getting bonuses every freaking quarter, while layoffs are basically happening every other week. Your rent has gone up by 40-50% at this point, while your paycheck is starting to get almost non-existent. The hamster in the wheel thing, it really starts to paint the picture of what late stage capitalism looks like. It's watching corporations rainbow wash their logos every June, then donate to politicians who go against that very cause. Hence why your avocado on toast is like $17. And now there's this thing like, oh yeah, just, buy now, pay later on groceries, which quite honestly doesn't make quite much sense. This is the stage where profit becomes religion and people are just the cogs in the machine or the cows in the field. But for real, how did we get here? I'm probably old enough to be some people's dad or grandpa, but capitalism wasn't always this wild. Or maybe it was. It just probably had better PR. Let's be honest. Just like how, things back in the 90s, just, again, the jingles, they just stuck with us, Back in my day, it was supposed to be about innovation. hard work, competition. But slowly but surely, the game has always been rigged. It's not about innovation anymore. It's about consolidation, about hoarding, about lobbying, about a handful of people owning most of everything, which most of us just fighting for the breadcrumbs. We've outsourced not just jobs, dignity, healthcare. It's all a hustle. Education is debt. Everything that should be a human right is now a subscription service. And the key thing is the system isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. Extract and exploit you. And we have to take a short pause for an ad from our sponsors. So bear with us. Tired of financial insecurity? Sick of having the basic needs met? Then you need capitalism, the world's most reliable provider of existential dread and late night doom scrolling. With Capitalism TM, you'll enjoy such premium features as working 3 jobs and still being broke, daily panic attacks from checking your banking account, endless hustle culture brought to you by billionaires who inherited their wealth. But wait, there's more. Sign up now and you'll get the illusion of choice, the warm, fuzzy feeling of moral decay, a side of a side of climate collapse absolutely free. Capitalism TM, because nothing says freedom like being in debt for 30 years. Capitalism, where dreams go to get repoed. This is all very, 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 very draining. All right, here's the last segment. Real talk. But how do we cope? Like, for real, how do we cope with all these extremities that are in our face 24/7, 365? However many days that is in years. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a bit delusional. Just like the rest of you, overly caffeinated, understimulated, depressed, all that stuff, right? Having gone through the worst, and some people would say being in the service could be your absolute worst thing for you. Again, I'm not here to judge. Just like being in incarceration, it could be the absolute worst thing for you. But I'm a firm believer of Semper Fi till I die. So I'm always going to look at the silver lining in things. It's easy to feel powerless, right? It's very easy to feel that way. But we're not quite completely powerless. I mean, we can cope in this manner, right? Small little rebellions, mutual aid, finding community. The most important thing, finding community. You could try starting your own community garden, co-ops, worker strikes. Hey, my UPS dudes. I'm just playing. Buying less, organizing more. If we unplug, we get to question and call out the lies. But the most important thing, that there is power in naming what it is that we're seeing and experiencing. Just saying, nah, this isn't normal is a call to action, is part of it, right? Imagining something better. We may not be able to flip the proverbial table overnight, but we can stop pretending the table isn't rigged. We got to stop gaslighting ourselves into believing that, that it's not broken. We got to look out for one another. Like I've always said, get off the fucking dating apps. Get off of capitalism's dick. Stop sitting here saying I want things 50-50. Stop sitting here buying into white supremacy. Stop sitting here and, prescribing to all these other cop-outs. And let's really understand that we should be looking out for one another, right? We should be uplifting each other. We should be holding each other accountable. We got to push policies that redistribute power. We have to resist the grind where we can, because we're not robots, right? You will burn out. And lastly, but build alternatives where we must. But most importantly, and if I can say this sincerely, I'm always sincere. But we need to remind ourselves on a daily basis that we are not the problem. And again, I'm going to say this again. We are not the problem. We are the solution. All right. Closing thoughts. So yeah, late stage capitalism feels like a slow motion train wreck, if I could be quite frank, where the train's made out of student loans and tracks lined with Amazon warehouse workers and the whole fleet, if I may. But we're still here. Number one thing, we're still here. We're still questioning things. We're still dreaming of something more humane. And that's the first step. Absolutely the first step. So thank you for kicking off this journey with me, because quite honestly, I've been prolonging this forever, right? If you dug and if you fuck with me heavy and if you really into this, so then subscribe to the channel, join the TikTok, you can look at some of my artwork on Instagram under Neverisms, TikTok under Neverisms. I really do appreciate this tremendously. I'm always trying to be just the most authentic and genuine version of myself to be a better service to my fellow man, right? So with that being said, you're not alone in any of these matters, right? And I'm going to catch you all in the next episode. So stay grounded, stay sharp, but most importantly, stay human. Peace.